909 Big 550 KTRS. Donald Trump and his comments on Muslims sent the world reeling last night. He first announced it in some type of news release. Then he said it while in South Carolina. He did the morning talk shows, all of them, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, well, I hate to use the phrase, but he continued to stand by his comments about stopping all Muslims, banning all Muslims from coming into the country. Let's remember for just a moment what George W. Bush said after 9/11. Here's George Bush just days after the World Trade Centers came tumbling down.
Of terror is not the true faith of Islam. That's not what Islam is all about. Islam is peace.
That's George W. Bush, President of the United States. Do we have Dick Cheney's clip or no? Here's what Dick Cheney, Vice President of the United States, said yesterday on the Hugh Hewitt Show.
This whole notion that somehow we can just say no more Muslims, just ban a whole religion, goes against everything we stand for and believe in. I mean, religious freedom's been a very important part of our history and where we came from. A lot of people here, my ancestors got here because they were Puritans.
That's Vice President Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney says Trump is wrong. George W. Bush says Trump is wrong. Jeb Bush says he's wrong. Lindsey Graham says he's wrong. Chris Christie says he's wrong. Marco Rubio says he's wrong. Lindsey Graham says he's delusional. John Kasich, governor of Ohio, put out this ad, and it's truer today than it was 3 weeks ago when he first put it out.
I would like anyone who is listening to consider some thoughts that I paraphrase from the words of German pastor Martin Niemöller. You might not care if Donald Trump says Muslims must register with their government because you're not one. And you might not care if Donald Trump says he's going to round up all the Hispanic immigrants because you're not one. And you might not care if Donald Trump says it's okay to rough up black protesters because you're not one. And you might not care if Donald Trump wants to suppress journalists because you're not one. But think about this. If he keeps going and he actually becomes president, he might just get around to you. And you better hope that there's someone left to help you.
That was a John Kasich ad that ran on the internet. And here again, once again, is what Donald Trump said yesterday.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
The crowd goes wild. On the day after the Pearl Harbor attacks 74 years ago, where FDR and the United States, it was the policy of the United States government to round up Japanese Americans because they were of Japanese descent, because they were afraid of some type of attack from inside the government, inside the country, and put them in camps. We have a presidential candidate from a major party who is calling for, well, the same thing, basically. And you wonder how we got here. Donald Trump has been radicalized. He's been radicalized. The Republican Party used to be a normal party. The Republican Party its roots is a peace-loving American great party. There are some people who call themselves Republicans who aren't Republicans. They've been radicalized. I truly believe that Donald Trump does not represent the Republican Party. He might call himself a Republican. Republicans might want to vote for him, but he has taken the tenets of the Republican Party and he has distorted them in such a way that he himself has become radicalized. He's not a Republican. He's not. I don't know what he is. He's not a Republican. He's basically starting his own party or his own religion or his own whatever. We're either watching the breakup of the Republican Party or we're watching him create his own party. He's not a Republican. And the people who support him are not Republicans. How do I know that? Because no right-minded Republican thinks Donald Trump is correct. Dick Cheney. Donald Trump has been able to do one thing. He's actually been able to unify the country against Donald Trump. It has been bipartisan rebuking of Donald Trump. You have Dick Cheney and Hillary Clinton on the same page. You have Dick Cheney, George Bush, Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, John Kasich, Chris Christie, Lindsey Graham. All of them have come out and called this man wrong, a fraud, a danger to society. Donald Trump has been radicalized. And it's quite fascinating how he is calling out other radicalized individuals when he himself has distorted the tenets of the Republican Party for his own benefit. He is uncompromisable, right? It's his way or no way, and he would rather destroy our great country than compromise and see it work for everybody. There's no other way to describe it. When you have a man who makes fun of a physically disabled reporter and refuses to back down, when you have a guy who claims he saw something on TV in which nobody else saw and refuses to say he was wrong, he's delusional. And the people who keep supporting him are giving him more and more power. And so he's going to keep saying more and more absurd things. You put two people in a room. You put two Tea Partiers in a room. One of them's the liberal. And so that's why you get somebody who says the most absurd and ridiculous things like Donald Trump, because he needs to be more right of everybody else. He has now been radicalized, and just like the radical Muslims who destroy the peaceful tenets of the Muslim religion, he is now destroying the peaceful tenets and the wonderful tenets of the Republican Party. And he has bastardized them, destroyed them, and distorted them in such a way that he now finds himself being radicalized. Now, I don't know if I'm in the minority. I'm with the leaders of the Republican Party, but I am curious as to see from the listeners, the callers, the emailers, the texters, if Donald Trump has gone too far. Has this man now gone too far? Or do you still believe him and think that this is the right way to go about doing it? Forget the fact that it's impossible to do. Every expert tells you if you were to do that, you would create more trouble than it's worth. You would create more radicalized people. You would give ISIS and Al-Qaeda and everybody else an example of why America hates Muslims, because now they won't even let you into the country, which they would then use against us. I'm not telling you that. Every single expert's telling you that. 314-969-KTRS, 1-888-550-KTRS, or star KTRS. Those are the phone numbers. We'll get to your thoughts here in just a moment. 918, Big 550, KTRS.